Stop the bad.
Welcome to Mama What's Next, your career podcast for mums. This is our space to be brave, real, and authentic, and to really celebrate that. This podcast is all about trusting our inner voice and following the path that truly lights us up. Because let's be honest, life is too short to settle for anything less than your passion. I'm your host, Melly. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, everyone. So today is a different kind of episode, and I want to talk about what happens when we don't quite get what we want. Because I think sometimes not getting what you want happens for a reason. Yeah, sometimes we don't understand why that's the case yet. When we're in that situation, and particularly when you're looking for a job and you're out there and you try and find something and you're picking out a few things and you're so set on making it work. I'm sure you have had situations like this when you look back at, jobs and restarting your career, pivoting, changing, trying something new. And sometimes things didn't really work out that you were excited about. I'm sure that's happened to you. It definitely did happen to me many times. Sometimes we just need to let go of these things, and accept where we are. Because we wouldn't be where we are right now without these things happening back then, And the place right now, right here, is exactly where we're meant to be. And if right now what you actually feel is confusion and you're a little bit lost, I've been there myself many times, then that's okay. That's a place that you need to feel confused right now, obviously. Something isn't quite right, obviously. Because maybe you're not really aligned, maybe you're not really on the right track, maybe you're not even on the right path yet. So there's a way the universe has of making us see and feel that we're not quite on the right track. And I think that happens when, things just don't work out. We're being thrown rocks into our way and things happen that kind of mess up our world. And at the time, sometimes we get really furious and upset about it. But I've learned many times that often there's a good reason why these things happen. In my work life, I once interviewed for a position at a big fashion company. And I was really, really excited about it. Or let's put it this way, I love fashion, well, shoes particularly, but that was a great fashion label. And my ego really loved the position and the job title. And I was sitting in these interviews and just even walking into the door, it was like one of these really old school fashion houses, like you imagine them in Paris, even though that was in Switzerland, actually. International fashion house. And I mean, I'm such a freedom loving person. And there I walk into a meeting with a person who was so restricted and so stiff that, like, even in the first meeting, I was like, oh, something isn't really quite feeling right here. And then as I'm walking out, there's people walking past me and they're using one of these like time counting machine things where they kind of clock in and they clock out the time on the wall. And it was like an old school kind of system that they had. Maybe that's been around there for a long, long, long time. But I was like, oh, really? Is this, that's what they're going to do here? Wow. So that certainly isn't my kind of work environment. But I was like, no, this look great on the resume. It's going to be a great job. I'm going to learn so much stuff. And I went for the next interview and went well, even though that kind of icky feeling in my stomach was still there, obviously. And then I didn't get the job. And I was like, oh, why did that happen? Well, why did it happen? Because I actually knew from the start that didn't feel good. That didn't feel right. It was just not right for me. And it was my ego saying, no, I want that job. I want that job. I want that job. But nah. So sometimes these little presents, gifts, I used to say, me and my very close friend at the time used to say, sometimes presents come wrapped in shitty paper. And it was a gift, really, at the time, because I don't think I would have been happy there. So I'm a strong believer in pursuing work that feels aligned and purposeful and that, you're really passionate about every day. And yes, I want to actually feel excited about my work every single day. Yes. And I'd be lying to you if I actually said that wasn't the case. So if I look back at my, work life experience, and I've done many, many things. I've worked in over 30 different jobs, probably in about 20 different categories. I really have been happy in most of them. And I always find something that I learn in particular roles that I can take with me, even though I might leave them for certain reasons. And because I do really want to feel purposeful and happy and excited getting up on a Monday morning, I don't want to feel frustrated. And I also can't understand how people go through life like this and why they do that to themselves, to be honest, because there are so many jobs out there. There are so many ways to earn your money. And I mean, you can find a full-time corporate role, and there's so many options out there in this kind of way. And you can, change your setup and maybe work part-time and then do a little bit of freelancing on the side to, just swish it up a little bit, make it a bit more exciting, work on some passion projects. Or you can do, some women, particularly mums, I hear often they work for network marketing companies, and they're not all bad. My mum has actually worked for several of them, and she's been very happy. She's found great community at the time, and she's met great women selling jewelry or beauty products. And then you can take something like this and be in a part-time job. And so, you can mix things to make it work for you. But I really think, and that's really what I would recommend to people, if you're someone that feels a little bit caged in a full-time role, or let's say, even when you're a mum, it might be 80%, because I know that from myself being the case. That's something I've learned about myself, being very multi-passionate and multi-interested in things. I'm actually much happier now that I do different things, that I try and combine different things. It actually makes me want to stay with what I'm doing and where I'm working. Whereas before, sometimes if my jobs weren't challenging enough and not varied enough and not, I didn't have enough growth opportunities in my roles, I actually always had that little itch of, I want to go, I want to leave, I need something else. Whereas now I'm like, this is great. I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to do that. I'm building that beautiful business now, working with mums, helping them find work, helping them figure out what they want, but also helping them find jobs, roles, the right roles. So actually helping them, giving them back time by supporting them with the whole recruitment process. And I'm still marketing because I'm just doing it for people now. And I love marketing. I always have. So if you have that internal struggle within you and that little voice calling you, nagging you, pulling on you, it's not going to stop, you know. You either learn to live with that, which sometimes that actually manifests within your body, and you get a little ouch here or a little ow here. Because, and that's also from my own experience, you know, when we push these emotions to the side, they will manifest somewhere in your body. Because then, if you don't listen to the emotions when they're coming and you're just pushing them away, your body has a way of finding a way to make you listen. So, I really recommend, if you have that call within you that something isn't quite right and you're not happy and you don't like your job, you're not fulfilled, you don't feel like you're doing work that's meaning to you, then why do you keep going like this, really? Because, I mean, I've just spoken to someone the other day, and she would come to me with all these, you know, I call them excuses, really, to be honest with you. She would come with feedback, but, you know, this, and I can't do this. And, well, if you work with me, really, you should only do that if you're ready for change, because I will have a solution for everything. I will have an answer for everything, because I do actually believe that there is a solution for everything. And if you tell me you can't go because you need to keep earning money, there are solutions for that. You know, you can step out with one foot while still earning money with your other foot. And you can do that in a way that feels right and safe, and you can still support your family whilst getting experience in a new field. So that is not a good excuse, really. So that voice within you is just not going to stop. And I strongly believe that there's a higher power that we're connected to, that we have access to. There are times that we can hear that voice very, very clearly when it's calling us. And there's times when we drown it out in all the busyness and all the running and doing. But essentially, that's your connection to your higher self, maybe God, the universe, Mother Gaia, whatever we want to call it. The question is, though, are you going to listen to it? And over the last 2 years, I've had really profound experiences that made me believe in this higher power. I've experienced things even within my own body, and I will tell you more about this, you know, in some of the future episodes, where I've worked with Kundalini energy. And this is like when you start to feel the energy and the power and the strength and the call within you, it's going to change your world. It really will. And it will remove all these blockages within you. I mean, we do all these things in our life to keep us safe, right? To stay in our safe zone. And I'm not different, but I guess I lived my life in a different kind of way. I always try and overcome these hurdles and blockages. And I find ways to unblock, you know, these things in my head. Unblock myself. And there are ways to do that. And some things work for some people, others for others. So not everything will work for everyone. But I believe, some people here in this world, some of us are actually just here to make other people laugh and smile and happy and brighter. And I'm very happy to know some of them. and we need them. And it's a good friend of mine, actually, that I'm going to introduce to you soon, who has become a comedian. And he's freaking amazing. I'm so excited to see people step into what they're here to do. And yes, and some people, they're here to build systems and processes and support, the systems and the weight, everything that we have in our lives. Definitely not my kind of path. I love systems and processes, but I don't want to be the one building them. And I think there are some people that really, they're here to serve and support others. And they're here to teach and to help people see and heal. And again, that's not for everybody. But if you do have that calling within you, if you do feel called, then there is a reason why that's happening. There's a reason why you're being called. Because, and maybe you've heard other people say this before, but maybe we pick our experiences before we come into this world. And your soul has picked an experience, a contract, something like that. And life is short, so you really should make the most of it. And I can't tell you, it's amazing. Like when I think the people that I've spoken to, like over the last, it's probably like the last 2 years, but even before also. But particularly when I speak to people that help others heal, that teach others, that want to make this world a better world. I cannot, it's amazing to me, and it touches me so much. And yes, I'm highly sensitive, so I'm easily emotionally touched by things like that. But I think it's just such an extraordinary feeling, to see how high they vibrate and what a light they are in this world. And when they enter a room and people meet them, it's like they light up the whole room. It's like, wow. And now imagine if they didn't do that work. No. Thank fucking God they do. They need to. They need to. Because we need them. We need them. And I'm going to introduce more of these people to you. Because they will tell you how amazing they feel since they've walked their path. And that in turn hopefully will inspire you to step into what you need to do. So, I guess what I want to say is you might be different, I've worked with many different people and different cultures in Australia and here in Europe, and I've seen many, many people being extremely happy in corporate jobs, and because it was the right fit for them, the right kind of job, the right kind of company, the right values, because really that's also very important when you pick a job. So sometimes people go, corporate isn't working for me. Well, it's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes you just need to pick a different kind of corporate company. We can talk about that some other time. It's a little tangent here, but I think that's really important when you pick a company, that you align your choice with how you are as a person. Because I've worked in a company that was a corporate company, very big, multinational, international, global company. And I loved it. Actually, I've worked with more than one that I really, really loved. And there's companies, corporate companies, like maybe, particular German companies. I don't really want to say the name now, but there are some that are very, very different. They might be very slow, very conservative, and that actually works for some people because that's how they work, that's how they want to work, that's how they function, that's how they are as a person. So it's perfect if you find that fit for yourself. For me, that would be wrong. I needed something where I can be autonomous and make free decisions, where you needed to risk is what you need to take a risk, and you better say, or how do we always say, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Yes, that's my kind of company. So really, for some people that works, the corporate ladder, the corporate path. And for some, it doesn't. For some, you need to find the right kind of, independent setup maybe for yourself. Or you find a small company. Some people love small companies because that's the kind of setup they need to work across, a variety of different tasks maybe. Because in smaller companies, you get to do a lot more different tasks, and your role might be a lot broader, more varied than in a bigger company. So, if you are at that kind of pivotal moment for yourself and you're asking yourself, but how do you do it? I really can only say, you've got to have trust. You have to have faith in your path. You have to have faith that you're supported no matter what, and that whatever happens to you and for you, or happens not to you, it happens for you. Whatever happens for you. That's the important message. And that's why you need to have faith, because if things don't work out, they might not work out for a reason, because that's just not where you were meant to go. You were meant to take a different path. You were meant to go left and then right and not straight ahead. So, and sometimes it's because you needed to learn an extra few lessons. I know this for myself in my own life. Sometimes you just want to go to the finish line and it's just not really happening. And why is that? Because guess what? You need to learn a few more lessons along the way, because otherwise you can't handle what's coming ahead of you. So it's preparing you. It's preparing you for what's ready for you. And just have faith that you are supported by the universe, Mother Gaia, because we are supported. And looking back, these hardships, they were teaching you to become the person you need to be for the place you want to go. And if things are really difficult right now and you're, working your head, trying to figure out what to do, I can only say that if you're in that kind of moment right now, I always ask myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst, really? What's the worst? Write it down. Because sometimes it will happen there. It's not actually that bad. Sometimes it's just you fall back into what you were doing before. And especially when you're quitting a job, trying something new, what's the worst that could happen? You give it a go for 6 months. You don't like it. It's not going well. You go, okay, fine. I'll go back to the starting line. or you try something else. But you're right where you began, aren't you? So why not give it a go then? And that's really how I want to leave it today with you. I've had so much fun doing this episode today, and it's been really nice spending some time with you today. And if you want to connect with me, you know where to find me. Have a great week. Bye. Hallo und ich danke dir fürs Reinhören. Wenn dir die Folge heute gefallen hat, freue ich mich riesig, wenn du mir eine Review hinterlässt. Es hilft mir unglaublich, noch mehr Zuhörer zu inspirieren, ihrem Herzensweg zu folgen. Du kannst mir auf Social Media folgen, auf Instagram oder LinkedIn. Die Links findest du in den Shownotes. Bis zur nächsten Folge, deine Melli.